Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. We're all just sat here chuckling because we've just done the countdown, the intro, and I've said now then, people, and I've just realised I hadn't even clicked live. So at least you don't have to sit through that. We just did. I've got an elite lineup for you this evening, if I do say so myself. We've, of course, got our Italian correspondent, the only decent Andrea that we know. Of course, we've got Andrea Russo with us. We've got Joe, looking all professional in his nice background there. And we've got newly appointed Manchester United fan, Luke.
It's actually it's more tangerine. It's definitely tangerine. I don't know if you can see that, but it's more Blackpool, I think, more than no.
I wouldn't have said anything, but he came in straight away and said, "This is not red." So I thought, it
looks really red on the camera, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really does. It does.
Definitely.
Let's go around the houses though and find out how everyone is. While we do that, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit the notification bell and make sure you check everyone's respective channels out. I'll put them in the description whilst people are chatting. I forgot to do that. Andrea, how are you doing first and foremost, mate? You good? We haven't spoken for a while.
Yeah, good. I follow you through your journey with the charity work. Really cheers to everyone involved. You raised tons of money for an amazing cause and in memory of a great legend. But it's great to be back. Always a good evening when we talk about Leeds with you, and very nice to meet these two gentlemen tonight.
Yeah, man, great stuff. Great. It's great to have you back as well, mate. It is. I know a lot of people will be happy about it. Someone's just said, "Does Andre have his own channel?" It's coming, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. A lot of people are saying that, but it's into consideration. You know, maybe I'll have to talk with my CEO, my director of football. Let's see.
We'll see what happens. Luke, mate, how have you been, mate? Again, we haven't spoken for a while. How's things?
No, very well. Just to echo what Andrea said there, we're really well done to you and the rest of you all for completing that absolute mammoth challenge. I've seen some horrific pictures as we did last year as well. So, look, I couldn't.
Are you getting involved next year?
My knee's fucked, mate.
Rubbish, knackered. No, I get it.
If it's better by then, I might do. I can't make any promises because I was going backwards with it at the moment. I've just been to see got another MRI. Anyway, boring stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I've tried to distance myself a bit from podcasting and football and everything else. Really, I've only done one since the end of the season as part of a group. But other than that, relatively well. I think I feel a bit happier that there's been no football.
I get it. It's been nice to sort of like, although I've done a lot of content, even though I went through that grueling thing with the Gary Speed thing, it was nice to not actually upload and actually have a little bit of chill, even if it only was for a couple of days and I was walking. It was nice to sort of like decompress in a way. Joe, how's things with you, mate?
Good. And just on the back of what you're saying there, I regret creating a channel that involves daily updates because of like, when do I take some time off from this?
Yes.
You did a great job, Joe, and I loved the updates that you did, and yourself and everybody involved with that. Well done, mate. It was seeing your feet after day one and then seeing what you went through in day 2 and 3. Hats off to you, pal. Well done.
Yeah, my feet. We won't even go into it, but they're knackered now, man. They're knackered. I've got to go get my dressing changed tomorrow, so we'll see how they look like then. So, yeah. Right, before we get stuck into keep, buy, sell, keep, buy, sell, keep, loan, sell, because obviously the transfer window's tomorrow as well, so it opens, so we're going to start seeing some movement. A lot of it is, I think it's just domestic up until the 1st of July, but obviously we will start to see a lot of movement. What I want to do, first of all, is just have a chat about the manager search. We're seeing some places now suspend betting on Brendan Rodgers. It seems to me at this moment in time that we might get a link up of Daniel Farke and Stuart Webber. But Joe, I'm going to come to you first and foremost because you replied to me on Twitter and said there are other options. I was like, does Joe know something I don't? So what are your thoughts just on them two and the current manager search, mate?
The first thing, I know nothing about anything is the first thing.
Second,
Socrates.
I like that. I like to listen to things and not focus necessarily on what the headline is. I like to hear the connective tissue in between you to go, is something not being said here, you know? And when I heard him on Sky Sports said about Stuart Webber, what they did say was he was looking at taking a year away. However, he has options in Spain. So that's what I heard, and that's where I went. There's other options there for him, because if it is a case that he's moving away, it looks really, really like it's lined up for him and Farke at Leeds. It looks like all the pieces are coming together. I've said it a lot this week. Farke is fine for me. It's an okay appointment. There's nothing for me exciting about it. It's not where I would have gone. I would have liked to have got a manager in who has not only maybe an experience of the Championship promotion, but also can actually keep a team in the Premier League as well. People are saying that, you know, Farke wasn't back in the Premier League, and somebody else sent me a tweet earlier on that said he was given 68 million in his first season and got relegated. So, you know, and then you look at how he did in Germany as well, and although Gladbach are not the team they used to be, he finished lower than they have done for the last couple of years when he's been brought in to push them forward. So for me, the thing with Farke is, at a top level, wouldn't be my choice for the Championship. I understand the reasons behind it. Stuart Webber, again, it's fine. He's a Leeds fan, which is the only bit of hope I'm hanging on, that he doesn't do some of the things that he did. His comments about women's football isn't helping him at all, considering how Leeds will want to bring their women's team forward next season after the year they've had this year. It's not a great statement, but I don't know. I would have liked Purslow from Villa when I saw him leave there. He was linked with Leeds briefly. I thought Purslow and Rodgers, there's ambition. But less so. But as I said, if they come in, they're fine. I won't be angry or disappointed we got them. They'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. Before I come to Luke, I know, Andrea, you're quite up on the Farke appointment, right? You see it being quite a positive appointment.
Yeah, because I think we need a manager that has got the experience in the Championship, and he has won the Championship twice. And he has a style of football. I think a lot of people tend to, of course, compare the German managers. We had experience from a manager, not German, of course, but he's managed in Austria and in Germany, in Jesse Marsch, the Red Bull managers, you know. I think he has a style of play that is attractive, but at the same time not unbalanced, and not is more pragmatic, you know. And I think we need a manager that is pragmatic, not too offensive, just in the middle. I think with Norwich, you know, he played good football. They won the league twice. And about the Premier League, you know, I have that view. I think they didn't invest well the money, and they had the worst squad, like the league table shows, in both seasons. When they got relegated, of course, in the second season, he was sacked and replaced by Smith. But I think they had the worst squad in both seasons, so it wasn't even his main fault in the end. Of course, he didn't win matches, but he did in a Championship, and I think we need a top manager for the Championship first. Then when we get back to the Premier League, we can reason and see, give him a chance in the Premier League, back him if we get back. If not, of course, we can change and make a better appointment for the Premier League if it doesn't work in the Premier League. Of course, there's a lot of clubs that maybe get promoted and they think the manager is not suited for that specific league, and they change mid-season, even if the manager got them promoted.
No, I agree. You've only
a lot in Italy.
Yeah, you've only to look at Bournemouth, really, in recent times. I know that was more so because Scott Parker was maybe running his mouth a little bit, but they sacked him. He'd got them promoted, and then Gary O'Neill keeps him up. Luke, I seen you nodding along there. Are you sort of happy with the Farke signing? And I think I seen a stat, Luke, where he got similar or same win percentage as Marcelo Bielsa the same time that he was in the division. So, you know, he's no scrub in the Championship for sure.
No, absolutely not. A lot to agree with there with Andrea, actually. He, I mean, comes on here looking like an Italian Johnny Depp and then using longer words than I know in English. And I don't know where to go now. But no, in terms of, what he says there about fact, look, I was quite vocally against somebody like Farke coming in because of how poor he's been, I suppose, when he's got to the Premier League. But Andrea's absolutely spot on. We've got to get back there. We've got no right to be there at the moment. You know, our first assignment is to get back to the Premier League. Now, what might concern me with the Farke Farke signing and appointment is he's not going to come in here on a 1-year deal. he's not going to come on a 1-year deal.
he's
You
not.
know,
Surely,
so we're going to be stuck with him at the very, very least 2-year deal. And if we get promoted at the first hit, which look, realistically, we probably can do with the finances and funds and everything else on our side this time. Where do we stand? You know, what position are we in, and where do we stand in a year's time? Do we take a risk on Farke? And I know I'm looking completely into the future here, and but that is probably a little bit of something that worries me. But well, look, when you look at his stats, that you can't really argue. I remember we beat them. I think we beat them 3-1 or something down at Carroll
Road at the start of the season.
Sacco
but then
Road,
they came back.
Yeah,
And they came back and beat us 3-1
Yeah.
at Ellen Road, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
played
yeah,
some
I
great
remember.
stuff.
Yeah, they
Absolute
did.
great stuff they did.
Yeah.
Look,
the other season.
I suppose I'm gonna.
Timu Pukki's available on a free as well.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I mean?
And Max Aarons as well.
Max Aarons.
I'd
the
take him.
same.
I would take him.
The only-
I'd take Max Aarons.
There he is. Look, Timu Weymouth. It would be great
it's
for me
finished.
on a personal
It's
level.
finished.
It would just
It's
be
finished.
amazing. Yeah, he's finished.
He's not finished. He's only 28.
Brilliant.
The only thing that I'm worried about this, and I agree. Sorry, with what everyone said about we have to get back to the Premier League first. I think I'm still stuck in the. I want Leeds to have a long-term, ambitious plan. That's what I want us to have again. Last year, we threw mud at a wall several times, hoping it would stick and work, and it didn't. And my issue with this, and I've said to a couple of people on Twitter talking about it, if Leeds use Farke to get promoted, they're not then going to sack him straight away.
No,
They're going to have to
no,
wait
surely.
until the results go badly, which means we're then in a situation where we're talking about a relegation fight again, rather than bringing in somebody who can bring the club into the Premier League and move us up to a mid-table position to be nice and safe and comfortable. Because I don't think the last thing we want is to get back to the Premier League and find ourselves sitting in the bottom 4 again, scrapping for our lives, because that's the level that we've recruited for. And as I said, Farke could prove me completely wrong. Needs to throw a big bag of money at him and say, there, tell me the players you want, go and get the players you wanted, and you could do a great job. But my concern is that there is this bit in the back of my head of, this is a short-term plan. This is not a long-term plan. And that still worries me with Leeds.
Well, about Gladbach, actually, you know, he came this season and they finished 10th last season. Like you said, Jer, Gladbach are not the team that they used to be, playing in the Champions League, challenging for European places. And you were right saying that they brought him in because they wanted to move the club forward. But I think they overestimated the value of that squad, honestly, because they only had Thuram as the lone striker. They sold Sommer mid-season. They sold Ginter at the start of the season. Brought in Weigl, of course. But yeah, realistically, if I look at the table, the Bundesliga table, I think it's the right finish looking at the value of the squad. And I don't think it is that bad actually in the Bundesliga, looking at the value of their squad and the squad that they had. Yeah, I think if I have to make a prediction, Gladbach will finish 10th or 9th next season too, even without Farke, in my opinion, because there's Union Berlin, Eintracht Frankfurt, Freiburg. Those clubs right now are ahead of Borussia Mönchengladbach. If they don't get the right manager, probably we would see them make the same part of Stuttgart and Schalke, in my point of view, in the near future. You know, if they don't get the right manager and the right appointments, and strengthen the squad, of course, strengthen the squad.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think you know, it's a good appointment, and it looks like, I mean, it's now being retweeted by all the big news aggregating sites, Guardian as well, saying that Celtic are close to appointing Brendan Rodgers. I do believe Leeds United spoke with Brendan Rodgers, but whether it was enough to convince him, it clearly wasn't. You know, it clearly wasn't, and I think Daniel Farke's probably next on that list. I think Phil here reported that they'd spoken to him and he'd impressed. And then obviously that might have been initially with Angus. And then we're hearing that Parag Maraf's going to be on a Zoom call. I know from speaking to people on the walk that people at the club are actually working on American time at the minute as well, because obviously there's a lot of communication with them back and forth. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll hear something. I think, that's me to take my antibiotics for my feet every 4 hours. I've got a bad memory, see. Right, okay, let's get stuck into it. Go on, Luke, what were you going to say? I can see you. You were going to say something.
It's only just past Watershed. I'll leave it a bit.
I knew. I could see. I was like, he wants to say something. Right. Okay. So, folks, what we're going to do is go through squad. So we've got goalkeepers, obviously defenders, midfielders, and attackers, and just ask the question and have a conversation really about who we're looking to keep, who we're looking to loan, and who we're looking to sell. There are a few names that aren't on there. We have noted them down as well. The people that are out on loan, the likes of Lewis Bate, Jamie Shackleton, Joe Gelhart, etc. There's a load more. Costa coming back, James, etc. So we'll discuss them as well. But let's get stuck straight into it then, and we'll talk about them as a collective, if you like. We'll talk about the goalkeepers. Obviously, we heard the news that Joel Robles hasn't been, he's not been retained as of yet, although I believe they are maybe having conversations with him about a new contract. Maybe they're waiting to see a manager come in and to get that new manager to take a look at him. Just my 2 penneth on this. Meslier is going to leave. That's clear from all the sounds that he's making. I think it's clear him and his agent want out. That's fine. So, yes, sell.
Exactly.
And he also brings in a decent fee, I think. I think we would want more than 10 million at least for Ilya Meslier. And when you consider we paid 5 for him, I think, okay, we might have thought years down the line it could have gone for a lot more, but it is what it is. We're a championship club now. Christopher Claesen, for me, I don't see him having a long-term future at the football club, but I would just keep him as a backup. However, well, no, you need 3 keepers. So, yeah, I guess you keep Robles and Claesen, and we have to go out and get a new number 1 for me. Andrea, I'll come to you. We'll take turns in going first, but I'll come to you just on the goalkeeper situation, mate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you on Meslier, obviously. He, especially after he lost his place towards the end of the season, I think, like Sam Allardyce said, it didn't take that well, being dropped. And I think we should look to sell him because he's bringing in a decent fee, and especially, of course, his transfer value has dropped since he didn't have, of course, a good season compared to the 2 previous ones in the Premier League. On Claesen, honestly, I loan him out because we haven't seen him play yet, apart from that previous appearance cameo at Wolves. And when we acquired him, he was a 21 international for Norway, and he had been called to the senior squad, of course, as the 3rd choice goalkeeper. So I'll honestly send him on loan and see him playing week in, week out. Or Robles, I'm a bit divided, honestly, because he's been a good character in the dressing room, clearly a leader in the dressing room this season. He was often the first one to speak on social media, and he had a good relationship with the fans, speaking frankly when, of course, there was times where the silence was astonishing from Ellen Road. But on the other hand, of course, I think he's a good second choice, a good backup. I won't keep him as a number 1, as the starter.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't see if he is in his mind to stay in the Championship, remain, and be a backup, because he was a backup in the Premier League and La Liga in recent season. So I think we might end up being forced to bring in both a starter and a backup, honestly. And maybe Danny van der Juwel as a 3rd choice goalkeeper, the Dutchman.
Yeah, that's been mentioned in the chat there, and Luke just met. Didn't he have a car crash, Van der?
Yeah,
he's back to
his vertebrae, didn't he?
Yeah, he's broke his. He's cracked something in his vertebrae, but he's been back about 4 months now, and he's replaced Claesen, and he's been the number 21 goalkeeper for pretty much the last run in for the season. So Claessen's not getting any game time.
Yeah. So do we sell Claesen, or is it just a case of loaning him out then and seeing what he's got?
I'd sell him because I think Van der Heuvel's under the coaching staff size anyway. Van der Heuvel seems to be a better goalkeeper. He's come back in after a serious injury and replaced Claesen almost immediately. Claesen lost his place on the bench for Leeds as well. They brought Robles in, so he's kind of 4th choice at the moment. He does have a couple of mistakes in him, but he's a very young goalkeeper still as well. And as Andrea said, he has got an international team under his belt. He's still regularly called up to the Norwegian team, so he still has that. So it's obviously still rated in some quarters as well. But I think Robles I'd like to see Robles stay on as a first choice keeper next season, then maybe have Van de Heuvel as your 21 goalkeeper, and then maybe bring in another backup that can maybe push on next year.
So you would keep Robles as number one?
Yeah, would you?
Yeah.
Experience in that back. I think it's going to be a very young looking Leeds team next year. I think the more experience we have down the spine of the pitch, that'll help them. I think they could struggle if they've got kids. I got struck by the amount of talking that Robles did when I saw him in action versus what Meslier did. I think Melia's got quieter over the years, not louder. Initially when he came in, he was very vocal, and then he seems to just got quieter. Robles was standing 5, 6, 7 yards outside his box against Newcastle, screaming at the defenders when the ball was in the opposition box, organising everything. So just from an experience perspective, I think he'd be a great shout to keep.
Fair. Yeah, about Klaesen, just one thing. I agree overall with what Jess said, but I think personally for me it's alone because he has a contract till 2025. Yeah. So just for it, because honestly, maybe they will give him a chance to perform on loan and maybe see how it goes before deciding if they sell him or keep him. Of course.
Yeah,
I remember when we first signed him, and he was actually mooted to come in before Meslier at the time. So they were obviously tracking him for a while, and went back for him when we needed another number 2. But it hadn't worked out for him. But yeah, maybe loan would be the best option just because he's a young keeper, go out, get minutes, etc. Luke, have you got any advancements on the keeper situation?
No, look, I think it'd be ideal for Meslier to go back to the Championship with us. I can't see it happening. I think that's his level at his current experience. I think it'd do him the world of good to come down with us and have a season there and get some confidence back. But from the comments I've seen, I don't really want him to do that anyway. If they're as true as they ring. He's obviously got bags and bags of potential, and he's had a really, really poor season. So no, I think ideally, if we could, but I don't think his value is going to go anywhere in terms of sort of up in an upward spiral. So get rid of him now while it's still relatively decent. I agree with Jer around Van de Heuvel or whatever he's called, and I think he probably will stay. And then loan Klaesen out. I'm with you on that, Andrea. I think give him one last chance to perform on loan, and absolutely agree. Robles should be our number 1 next season.
Yeah. Cool. Well, just let's have a conversation on that. So what I've got is keep Robles, keep Danny van der Heuvel, loan Klaesen, sell Meslier. With that in mind, I'm just looking at Transfermarkt. His current market value is 22 million euros. What do you think we can realistically expect for Meslier?
Well, yeah, exactly. I was going to say that 15.
15, yeah. Do you think? I thought about 10, 12, but I think 15 million. I think if we can get that, this talk of Chelsea, there's not a chance Chelsea make him their number 1. Not a chance. I think they've been linked to Onana and stuff, haven't they? But yeah, I think 12 to 15 million would be. I think we'd all be happy with that as well, right?
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah. Looking at next season, looking at next season especially.
I wonder, is there more noise around Meslier than actual facts? Is this a
agent
a Cody drama last summer when Newcastle were trying to sign him and then he ended up going to Luton on loan? I wonder, it works. It just keeps popping up. It's like Meslier has been linked with PSG, he's been linked with Spurs, he's been linked with this team, he's been with. I go, right, okay, but he's already said he's not going to play number 2 at Chelsea, so he's going to be number 2 at most of those clubs. Spurs is the only one I can see maybe gambling on him, but because Lloris is probably going to
get Raya from Brentford.
Yeah, they're agreeing a fee for Raya, and
he's not going to get ahead of Nick Pope at Newcastle. He's not going to. No. There's 2 better goalkeepers at Chelsea right now. He'd be a better goalkeeper in a couple of years' time, but he's not willing to wait. So,
it wouldn't surprise me if we kept hold of him.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's a strong possibility the season kicks off and Meslier is still at the club because, and then the other thing about the transfer fee is, are we selling at market value or are we selling at Leeds value? Because we buy players for 35 million who haven't done anything, and then we price Chris Somerville at 12 million. So, do you know what I mean? So it's
we spent the same amount of money for Rutter than Liverpool spent on McAllister. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's mad.
I know we're buying potential. I know that Rutter's
It's mad when you actually think about it like that. World Cup winner, and we're panicking.
Right.
It's mad.
I'm still leaning for we've bought potential with Rudder and give him a couple of years and maybe we'll see the value then
sure.
sell him for more. But it's Leeds valuation, isn't it? Like if you're gonna then sell Chris Somerville for 13 million, a guy who's a proven entity in the Premier League, there's something not right with our valuations on things. So, if Melier being bought by most clubs, will probably pay 20 million. He's got 3 years under his belt in the Premier League. He saved more shots in the Premier League than any other goalkeeper because he's faced more shots than any other goalkeeper. And he's still very young and has that experience. So somebody will take a punt on him, but whether they'll pay a market value or what Leeds rate him at is a different story.
Yeah,
Okay,
true.
I'm back.
Oh, did you go?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. You are back.
Just
Yeah.
I'm back.
Just went to cut somebody's hair with someone's hair with his fingers.
Right, let's have a look at some of the defenders on the list. Then we will divvy this out into positions, folks. But there's some of the defenders on the list that you can see. Obviously, Luke Ayling, Firpo, Cooper, Lorente, Dallas, Strauch, Klassen, and Vorber. We've also got Creswell, Monteiro, Hjelde, not Shackleton. Forget Shackleton. Although we tried to make him a right back, etc. But let's talk about right back first of all. Then, so really, we've got Christopher Klassen, Luke Ayling, and we have Rasmus Christensen.
It's like David James at City. French striker next.
Stick him up front.
We've got Rasmus Christensen, Luke Ayling, and Cody Drama. Andre, you can start us off with this one. The 3 right backs. What do you do?
Drama will try to keep him, but and like you said, Joe, his agent is trying to make big noises around him, of course. So they probably try to push for a move. Now that Newton, of course, has been promoted to the Premier League, so that they try to get a Premier League move, like for example, Jet Spence did last season when he got promoted with Forest and went to Spurs. It'd be my first choice at right back, honestly, if we keep him, because Christensen hasn't performed at all, and he performed better as a centre back. He did, yeah. And Ayling, honestly, I'll keep him as a backup because I think they'll keep him. That my mind is has come to peace with that, and I think they'll keep him and he'll be a good backup. Not the starter again. I think Bill will not be the starter. And Christensen, I don't know, honestly. I think he'll stay because we bought him from the Austrian Bundesliga, and there's Danish internationals that played in the championship and still got picked by the national team. I remember one playing at Ipswich many years ago, but I don't remember the Knudsen probably. It was in Norwegian. I don't remember. Yeah, honestly,
I don't have a clue, mate. So if you don't, then it's all right, mate.
Yeah, honestly, I keep them all, but Drame, Ayling as a backup, and Christensen be moved to the centre back position because he did well there.
Yeah,
he did better in central midfield than he did at right back.
It's centre back.
He played that. He played
midfield. He was better there than he did at right back. Yeah,
against Arsenal.
I think. Are we? If we can convince Cody to stay, that's one position that doesn't need to have any sort of work on it, does it?
Yeah, Christensen Ayling at that point.
Yeah, I don't think he does stay. I think we're going to the market for a starting right back. I think he goes to Luton. I'd like him to stay, but I just think that there's been too many transfer windows now where his name's been touted. We've heard about his attitude a couple of times as well. Depends on, I suppose it depends on who comes in. If Farker and Webber come in, then we'll probably bring Max Aarons with him. Potentially.
Yeah. And from the player's perspective as well, Luke, like maybe he's had a lot of failed promises as well. Like he was told, oh yeah, you'll get a chance, Jesse. Yeah, you'll get a chance. And then both times he's had to be farmed out, and maybe he'll look at it and say, well, I've been at Cardiff, I was their player of the season. I've been at Luton, I've done the same there, and I've got promoted. I'm done with the championship now, you know?
Fair play, yeah.
Player of the season stuff is very tainted though, because we hijack that, because we always do, so that's the first thing. There's an interesting stat about Cody Drama that I keep bringing up. He's the most dribbled past fullback in the championship. So that's from a defensive defender perspective, we've already got Christensen, who can't defend as a right back. So, you know, Cody give you a lot of stuff going forward. Personally, I would agree with everyone. He would be the one that I would want to keep and start.
Yeah.
But I think we'll end up, but I would keep Christensen as well, because I don't think anyone's going to buy him.
No.
And I think you've got in the Championship specifically, I think he probably suits that kind of, you know, kick and rush style that some teams will play. And I think he could be a backup for centre back if we need it as well, because I actually thought he was very good at centre back when he did play centre back. I thought he was better than most of the centre backs we've had there this year. So he's pacey. So there's that. But I think we'll end up with three, 4 right backs when the season starts, and probably still no left back.
Well, let's move over. I think we're all, at this moment in time, we're all keep Drama, Ayling, Rasmus in that order. In terms of minutes as well, if they all stay fit. Let's talk about left back then. We only have Junior Firpo. Luke, thoughts?
Look, he's one of the very few this season that stood up in games to be counted. Look, he's got a mistake in him. He's not your ideal defensive left back in the team that's going to be absolutely pelted and been run out all game. But going forward, he's actually quite a good, useful player. We saw the best of him when we were on the front foot in games, and he was given that, you know, that license to get forward. Can he do it in the Championship? I have a feeling whoever comes in as manager, we will be expected to be attacking a lot in the Championship against the teams that we're going to be coming up against week in, week out. I don't think we can keep hold of him. I think he still will go somewhere. Who knows where? He's flip of a coin for me, Junior Firpo, because, you know, you never know what you're going to get with him. You're either going to get a 2 out of 10 or a 7 or 8 out of 10 with him. So we could do a lot worse in the Championship, I think. But I also think there are better options out there.
I'm a hard sell. I am.
We need to change the chant of Said. Took the plane from Spain, took the plane back to Spain to La Liga, maybe. Because I think he'll have offers from La Liga, honestly. Fabrizio said it too, I think, Romano.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I was thinking that was half bloody the club feeding stuff to let people know that it was available. I'm not too sure, but it'll be on a big wage. It probably could command a fee, maybe. I'm not sure what that would equate to. Jay, do you have any thoughts? Sorry.
You're right there, pal. You're not
tired.
Sell. Just sell. We got Stuart Dallas who could do a job there if he can get back after the injury in pre-season. I think we need a brand new left back. I think we need to look at that position seriously, and we also need to look for a left back for the under-21 side as well, and actually get that sorted, because there isn't a left back down as far as under 18s. And I believe Jerry McDermott was telling me, or Adam Pope might have said it to me, that Seb Carroll's young fella is a winger, and Leeds have been trying to turn him into a fullback, into a right back, and he's not happy about that either. He's not at all impressed with that. So left back. So Leeds need to go and sign some left backs all the way down and get that sorted. It's been going on for way too long. Our best left back in the last 10 years has been a right winger.
Yeah. Are we classing Hjelde as a left back or as a centre back?
I was just going to touch on him. Yeah, let's talk about Hjelde as a left back. Obviously, I've quickly moved Dallas into the keep column because I think he's been injured for a while. No one's going to come in for him, and he can do a job if he gets back to fitness. But what do we do with Hjelde then? Is he a second choice option alongside a new left back potentially?
I'd loan him out again, because it went really well to start at Rotherham. People were talking about, how is this guy not in your starting 11? Rotherham fans were telling Leeds fans, how is he not playing every week for you guys? And then he got dropped. And he was out of the team for a bit. And then he came back in, played a couple of games, and then was out of the team again. Now, he wasn't injured because he was on the bench. He just wasn't being used. So towards the back end of the season, he seemed to play less than he had when he first went in there. And I remember him at Celtic, and I've got a really good friend of mine who's a fanatic Celtic fan, Paul. And he said, when Leeds signed him, I asked, how we got this guy? Why are you selling your good young players to the English teams? And he said, he's injury prone. And has been since the day we got him. He hasn't been able to put a full season together. And if you remember when he came into Leeds, he has had injury problems consistently since he's got to Leeds. This year seems to be the best season he's had in terms of staying fit and having run at it. I'd give him another year on loan and have a look at him next year again and see if he can get a full run at a whole season playing start to finish, and then bring him back in. He's still young enough. He's a lot younger than I think he is. I think he's only 21. So he still has a lot of time, or even younger than that again. I'll check that though.
Does anyone have any different opinion to Hjelde on loan? I'm minded to keep a little bit.
He's
you
19.
I think
He's
keep.
19.
I think
Yeah,
keep.
true.
I think keep all on. Yeah. I mean, keep either as backup, left back, and centre back because you're going to need a relatively sized squad when you're playing 46 games before even any cup games. So for me, yeah, it's on the line between keep and loan. If we can get some better options in, it'd be loan.
Loan,
But as it stands, it's probably keep for me.
Yeah.
Same for me, honestly. Both keep loan are good, but he's versatile. He can play both left back and centre back. For me, he's mainly a centre back, not a left back. But for this specific reason, I'll keep him. And about Firpo, I agree with you, sell, because I don't think he'll play in the Championship.
No.
I think he will want to move on. He will want to move back to continental Europe, and there's options in that position. There's Ryan Manning on the market.
Great
I
signing.
think
That'd be a great thing to get.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's had a hell of a season at Swansea. And there's other players, of course, that you will have to deal with the club. And in that case, I really like, honestly, Greg Taylor from Celtic as a left back.
Yeah.
And another one that is a fullback instead, Danny McNamara from Millwall. Honestly, he's very underrated in my opinion, and he's young, being called to the Republic of Ireland right now.
Yeah,
I think there's options. Joe Bryan is a free agent too.
Yeah,
another example.
Yeah, there
We
definitely
were
is.
linked with him years ago, weren't we?
Yeah. When he was at Bristol City,
That's right.
I believe, right? Yeah. Just on Firpo, then current market value 12 million euros. I don't think we get anywhere close to that, do we?
I'd bite your hand off for that. I think you probably get 6 or 7 for him if you're lucky.
8, yeah.
8, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we get 12 million, do we? Anything upwards of 10, I don't think. Not a chance. No. Yeah. I mean, what did we pay for him?
About 12.
Was it about that? Yeah.
15,
Yeah, 15 million euros, 12 million. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just hasn't really worked out for him, has it? Which is a shame because I remember when
15.
the season before we'd smashed it, and I remember doing my fantasy Premier League team and remembered the combination between Alioski and Harrison, and I thought Firpo and Harrison would be even better, and it just wasn't to be. Right, let's talk about centre-backs then. So we have quite a long list. We've got Robin Koch, we've got Liam Cooper, Diego Llorente, Pascal Struijk, Max Wöber, Charlie Creswell. So that's like 6. There's 6 of them. Jer, I'll come to you first. I think, where do you got? I mean, Robin Koch's going to leave, right? We can sort of say he's gone, he's a sell, right? Yeah. What's the rest of it look like for you, mate?
I think Koch will go, Llorente will go. That looks like it's nearly done. Arguing over 3 million quid with Roma at the moment. Roma's saying he's worth 12. We're saying we're worth 18. Take 12. Take it and run.
Yeah.
Before they realise it. I think he goes. Cooper stays. And I think it'll be important. Again, same thing with the younger players. I think having that experience of getting out of the Championship and also failing to get out of the Championship as well. Those players will give the younger players something to learn and help them around those issues. Struijk is a funny one. I think he'll do better in the Championship. I just worry about this end of season thing with Struijk. 2 years in a row when the pressure came on, he seemed to buckle and had to be taken out of firing line twice by different managers, which is concerning. But maybe he just needs this season anyway. Wöber, do whatever you can to keep him because I think that's the leader there, and I think Charlie Creswell, do what you can to keep him as well because there is interest in him as well, and he could be a flight risk. But I would love to see us start the season with Wöber and Creswell side by side.
Has anyone got anything different to that? What about Struijk? Where do we put Struijk? Because there was a lot of talk, Luke, that maybe the club would be willing to listen to offers for him. I think Joe's right. You keep Cooper around for the experience. You don't have him starting, of course. You keep Wöber if you can. You keep Creswell if you can. We know Koch and Llorente are going to leave. What do we do with Struijk? Because he was going to be
Yeah,
boy,
I'm a big
wasn't he?
fan of his. I'm a big fan of his. Look, we've got to take into consideration the amount of games he's had to. He was signed as a 21s player, and he was literally thrown in the firing line. We had no left back. He was thrown in the firing line. He was playing left back for Marcelo Bielsa. Do you know what I mean? As a centre back, a 6'4", whatever, 6'4" left back. He was thrown in there, and look, he was playing out of position, but. Every time he's moved to centre back, he seems to look worse than he's at left back, and I just don't. I think there's a player in there, and I think there's going to be a very, very good player in there come the future. I just don't think. I don't think he's very good at changing and modifying his style of play throughout a season. I think he knows to play one way, how he's trained, and that's it. And it's probably a hindrance to us. We have done previously under previous management, needed players who can play more than one position. And I think if he's coached well, with some good mentorship from Warber and Cooper as a centre back, I think it could be important for us. As it is now, I'd be inclined to probably listen to offers or either give him a loan, give him a year away.
Yeah,
That's not a bad shit.
Yeah, I think that the constant change of position, he played as a left back, as a centre back, as an holding midfielder, sometimes in place of Kevin Phillips. And but in the first season, back in the Premier League, when he broke into the team, basically, because the season before he played a bunch of games, of course, but the season he broke into the team was literally the first season when we finished ninth. I think he had a good season paired with Cooper. Then, unfortunately, he regressed because he played left back, holding midfielder, and he was one player on the rise after the first season. So honestly, I'd keep him. But the main problem there is that if we keep both him and Weber, we'll have two centre backs. That ideally is your centre back pairing
as well. You've got Hjelde in there as well. That can also
three left-footed, both left-footed. That's the main. That's certainly a topic in that case. Another one that we can consider is that he was called before the World Cup in the pre-World Cup squad in the Netherlands for the Netherlands.
He was, yeah.
So maybe will his agent try to look for other options? Maybe we'll loan him out for one season, like there's talk about the same option with Roca, and then if we get back to the Premier League, he'll return after playing in a top tier. Because honestly, my ideal centre back pairing will be Weber and Struijk in that case, but they're both left-footed. Of course, Struijk, he can play good with the right foot sometimes. He's played along with Cooper and as a left centre back, and Struijk as the right centre back in the first season. But there's this big question mark right now about this Struijk Weber in my head,
See, my ideal centre back partnership I'd agree with Jerry. It'd be Weber and Cresswell, because I think Weber would turn Cresswell into a different animal. It'd take him to the next level. We've seen whoever Weber partners this season. We've seen has played has stepped up another level.
Yeah,
The championship as well. How the season finished, Cresswell had his best run the Millwall side in the back end of the season, and he struggled initially to start. Got a couple of goals, but struggled from positional and defensively. But after the World Cup break, he came back into that team a different player. He was kept one of their most experienced players out of the team consistently until the end of the season. And they were in the playoffs when he got injured and broke his eye socket. And then when he was out of the team, they fell out of the playoffs. So he has experience now in a team who are pushing for promotion. So he will know that next year as well. And he'll have gained a huge amount. One thing we don't have is somebody who's a threat from set pieces to score goals for us, but we also don't have somebody who's commanding in the box from ours.
And Cresswell is that, isn't he?
Yeah, he does that. But
he's a big old boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
he gets it, man. I know it's cliche, but he gets it.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
it's worth a lot in it.
His dad's played here. His dad's been involved with the club. He's been around the club a long time. Yeah, he knows what it's like to be Leeds. But and come here, I always thought Millwall was the perfect spot to go because that crowd won't give you a second. If you're not playing well, they're on your back. That's an aggressive crowd, and if you can deal with that, you can deal with Ellen Road when it gets a bit cranky as well.
My only concern we lack ball players at the back, and it all depends on how Daniel Farke, because I don't see Cresswell and Vober being good on the ball. I don't think Vober can pass the ball. I don't think he can pass the ball, man.
But he's played as a 6 when he was in Austria as well. He's played and he's played left
From what
back.
I've seen, his short passing shocking.
Well, everyone in that team last year, Joe, couldn't pass the ball 5 yards. It was awful. And then you found out at the end of the season that there was no patterns of play being rehearsed in training at all for the whole season. There was just no passing patterns being done. So you can kind of understand when their passing gets a bit rusty. But he's not alone in that one last season.
So what do we do then with Strout? Because I think if we keep Strout, are we then loaning Hjelde or what? Because it looks like we're getting pretty stacked.
Yeah, I think we keep one of the two and loan the other.
Yeah.
Keep Strout and Hjelde, but if that's the case with the Llorente and Koch departing, leaving the club, I'll bring in another player, maybe on loan from a Premier League club. I said it the last time, Joe. Callum Doyle will be a very good fit from City.
What about Montero?
Yeah, we need to chat about him. I think
he's under 18. He has loads of time. I think you're right. Because he's just come back. Well, he's just won a trophy with Portugal under 18s. So you're looking at he's in under 18. He's got loads of time.
Yeah, it was.
So he's not in a position to be getting loaned out either, is he? Really, we've just been promoted up to the Premier League Division 1, so we need to keep players like that.
I need a squad.
To hopefully stay in that division this time, as opposed to dropping out at the first time. So I've gone loan Hjelde, keep Strout. Yeah. Happy with that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. Right, let's move on to onto the midfielders then. So we've got Adam Forshaw, Brendan Aronson, Matt Rocker, Somerville, Harrison, Adams, JB, Sinistera, some fat lad from America, Greenwood, and Archie Gray. Just some others to mention as well: Jamie Shack, Alfie McCalmont, Lewis Bate, Helder Costa, Tyler Roberts as well. Them in there. Should we go through? I'll tell you what. We'll go through these first of all. So Tyler Roberts and Helder Costa. What we saying, folks?
Sell
both.
Sell both.
Yeah. Oh God, I've got rid of yours then. So I think we're all sell. I think Roberts isn't last year of his deal as well. And Costa,
get what you can for him.
Yeah, get what you can for him for sure. There's a good player in there technically, but I don't know his final pass and everything.
Whatever's left of him, he's another season with bad injuries.
Yeah,
didn't we bring him in and he got injured straight away as well?
Injured constantly since we've had him. He's been constantly get injured.
Yeah, I remember. Thoughts on it, this is really sad, but Shackleton's a sell for me as well.
Yeah. Needs to go and play.
He must be mid 20s now, almost now. Is he 23, 24?
24.
Yeah.
23,
if he's not cracked it now anywhere, he's not. It's the time to sort of.
Gary Rowett said that he felt sorry for Shackleton because he said he's super professional. He gives absolutely everything in training, which we've all seen that as well. He puts everything in.
Bleep test all the time winner, I think. He was
really nice kid as well.
Great attitude. And when he did play for them, Rowett said he never played badly. But they had a certain system and a certain style. So when everybody was fit, he wasn't first choice. So he ended up being a sub. And he said it was just kind of a victim of circumstances a little bit with the way they were playing, the squad that they had, that he just didn't get into the team. And it's a shame that he's wasted it alone on it.
Do you think he drops down to League One or something?
No, I think he stays in the Championship. I could see him going to a QPR or somebody like that and doing well there.
Or an Ipswich, they took Leif Davis from us.
Yeah,
newly promoted side. Someone like that. I think that's probably his level, which is a shame because, as Joe says, look, it will play anywhere for you. Marcelo would put him on anywhere, and he would go and put a shift in, and he never really looked out of sorts. Did he?
It's like a mini Stuart Dallas in some way, certain way.
Yeah, very like him.
It's easy to play.
Will run himself into the ground for you. Gives absolutely everything while he's out there. I mean, I never remember looking at Jamie Shackleton playing for Leeds and thinking he had a bad game.
No,
I always thought he's doing okay. He's gonna make the breakthrough, and then he was gone.
Because the first season he usually played in midfield. He was consistent. He was consistent, and of course he didn't have chances during the following ones, of course, because
I remember
came in this position.
Didn't he play against Villa in the second half when we beat them 3-0, and then he started him against Leicester and he was woeful, I think, and then we didn't see him again. I swear. No,
maybe not possible.
I can't remember, mate. To be fair, I've slept since then.
Yeah, it's a long time ago now. Bit of a shame. bit of a shame, but obviously Jamie Shackleton sell. What we're saying about McAlmont, because Alfie McAlmont has struggled for a loan over the past few seasons. I'm led to believe it's because he's on quite a high wage for someone of his age, and that's why we haven't been able to move him on permanently. I don't know what his contract looks like, but there was talk of him, he'd played for his country, etc. He maybe will take on the Calvin mantle, and it just hasn't really worked out for him. I think he's had loans at places like Oldham, etc. McAlmont to sell as well, I'd imagine, for folks.
Yeah. He has 1 year left on his contract, and League One, League Two. He played well actually at Carlisle Oldham, but in League One, Morecambe ups and downs. So that's his level at League One, League Two.
Yeah, for sure, and hopefully he can find a way back up. What about Lewis Bate, folks? Because he's had a decent season at Oxford, then got injured. I've seen a lot of fans. I don't want to characterize fans here, but a lot of the old stats aren't we lads be very, very big on Lewis Bate as a footballer, as a player, as a technician. They were all disappointed to see the article from Phil that said Leeds United would be looking to loan him out again.
I think that's the right move.
That is a right move,
what do you agree with that, or?
I think so. Yeah, League One was his first move, then the Championship loan, or maybe another move to loan.
I'm going to go get my tablets because that's doing my head in, and probably yours as well.
Talk amongst yourselves. But our current assistant manager, Carl Robinson, had him at Oxford, and he described him as a Premier League player when, not if. He said everything about this kid screams Premier League footballer. He said he has, all the skills in the bag to be a really big player, and he has the attitude to go along with it. So I think Lewis Bate is young enough. He still has time. He's developing the right way. I wouldn't be so quick to get rid of him. I'd loan him out for the season and let him have another crack with another club. Maybe a club that's not struggling as much as Oxford did. Give him a chance in a winning side, see how he does. But he'll definitely have clubs in and around League One, lower half of the Championship, who'd be interested in him on the back of how he played this season for Oxford.
Yeah, I do. I mean, even again, lower end champ as well. Your promoted sides, I think that's probably the best option when you look at how many midfielders we've got and some of the quality that we're hoping to keep a hold of. He's probably, with the injury as well, he's probably not quite at that level just yet. Like you say, it's a case of when, not if. So I'm a big fan of what I've seen from him. When I've seen little highlights of when he was at Oxford and that, he looked comfortable on the ball. He looked tidy.
Tidy's the word to use for him, yeah.
Do you not think we're very light in midfield to be loaning him out? Just to counter narrative. I'm not saying I disagree, but
we need to bring in better players though in our midfield. But that has to happen anyway. We need to bring in. I mean, we're not just going to start the season with whatever's left of the squad we have now. There's going to need to be recruitment, and the main areas that recruitment is needed is the centre of the park to get that right.
Yeah, exactly.
Rocket will go as well. So now you've got no Rocket, no McKennie. Adams is probably going to either go or is injured, depending on what you listen to. So you're going to need three. That's three midfielders gone. So you're going to need to strengthen that area. Yeah,
I was going to surprise you actually say that I honestly give him a shout, give him a chance, keep him, of course, as a part of the squad. But if not him, I'll look to bring in a player with his characteristics. Because of course, at Oxford sometimes he played up the pitch, in somewhat more advanced position. But I think he has the characteristics to play like in Adams foreshore role, for example.
Yeah,
playing
absolutely.
from the back as a channel between the lines, between the defense and the attacking play, And if not him, I agree with you. If we're looking, of course, to bring in someone with those certain characteristics or the play to speed up the rhythm of the play from the back. If not, if we won't keep him, of course, try to bring in another player like him. I really like Jerk, and you know him because he's Irish too. Jason Knight, I think he's really good.
Player. Yeah, he's smashing player, especially at that level.
Yeah,
especially at that level.
I didn't think he was going to stay in League One for Derby. Actually,
I'd be shocked. No,
of the two, I think if I had a choice of loaning and keeping for now,
as a backup, actually,
one of Bate and Gray, I think I'd keep Gray of the two.
I was going to ask you this because, what Lewis Bate came with a lot of fanfare from Chelsea, right? A big fanfare, quite a coup for Leeds United. He was promised a route into the first team. He'd seen what other players may, maybe role of Gelhardt towards the back end of Bielsa's time and thought, all right, okay, there's a route here for me. And then he's been sent out to League One. Why is he put above Darko JB? Well, just out of interest.
I think they're different kind of players. JB's more your
Mhm.
sitting midfielder anchor. I think Lewis Bates got a number 8 or a number 10 written all over him. But as Andrea said, he can also sit deep and do that role if he needs to. He can be a link player, or he can be a move starter. He can play in that kind of quarterback area, or he can be he's done some lovely stuff around the edge of the box as well. And people have called him the natural successor to Pablo. Those little threaded passes in a very tight space. He has that in his locker as well. He's slightly older again, but it's a slightly different role. So if you're comparing him with Gray's probably going to stay around the under-21s next season again, because they need that squad. Bates probably gone past the under-21 stage and needs competitive games. So that's why you loan him out for competitive matches at a higher level to get him ready to come back in. But as Andrea's saying it, we probably would have looked at loan and Bate out to a championship club if we'd stayed in the Premier League. Now that we're in the championship, maybe we are exactly who the level you'd be loaning him out and hoping. So maybe he does come into the team now. But he is a very good footballer, and it would be a shame. I think he will make it as a Premier League player. I think it'd be a shame to let him go.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think if we put him on the loan for now, and I guess it's a case of like when the new manager or coach comes in, whoever that is, they'll probably get a look at him for sure. Right, okay, then let's go to the first team squad, if you like. Those are the ones that have been on loan, etc. Adam Forshaw. We'll do this on an individual basis, I think. We'll work our way around. Andrea, I'll start with you. Adam Forshaw.
I won't keep him, honestly. I think we should. I won't. Thank you for the contribution, of course, especially coming back into the team after those long-term injuries. I really thank him. He's been influential in the dressing room too. But yeah, I would like to move on and bring in another player with his characteristics, but younger player maybe, and the player maybe I'll look in the championship market too, because there's player playing in the championship this season that I think have similar characteristics, and I'd like to bring one of them in. Honestly,
yeah. Does anyone disagree or have a counter?
Now I've heard that, I don't disagree, but I've been in two minds with Forshaw, because when he's come back, he's arguably been our most important player, our best player, let's say. When he's come back into the team toward the end of the season, he's overridden those horrific injuries. But do we want to be taking a chance on another Forshaw contract if we can entice somebody of a similar or better quality on a similar contract? It's a tough one, and unfortunately, I think we need to be a little bit harsher as a club.
Yeah, a bit ruthless.
I think sentiment. I think it's probably because we're such a passionate fan base. Sentiment does take sort of, take priority over almost anything as a fan base, and we know what we're like. We're very fickle. If he starts and has 2 bad games, everyone will be saying, "Why didn't we fuck him off?"
Yeah.
But I think we need to be sensible about it. And I don't know what he's on. I imagine he's on a relatively good contract with the promotion incentives and everything else, and he's not really earned that in the amount of game time we've got from him, and that's what worries me. So yeah, I'd be tempted to follow Andrea and say thanks, but yeah, no thanks.
No, I think you make a great point. I was like you, Luke. Oh, it'd be great to have around the place, but if we're going to keep Cooper for one more year, we're going to keep Ayling for one more year. Do we really need that Forshaw if we can go out and play it? And you mentioned injuries. Dave White said Forshaw, 83 games since 2018. Sign him on a 1-year deal. He breaks down again. It was all for nothing, like you say. So, and there's a big chance. It's more probable that happens than it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So, and Scott Lighting says Lewis O'Brien. Go out and get Lewis O'Brien.
Maybe on a paper play. Maybe as a coach player.
That's where I am, Luke. That's exactly where I am. This isn't sentimentality, by the way, because someone's accusing us of being sentimental. This is not sentimentality. I'm not a sentimental person. I think if you're done, you're done. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Move on. Football has to move forward, not backwards. I'm the guy that's been telling everyone, stop saying sign Charlie Taylor. It's in the past. The thing about Forshaw is, like you said, Joe, when he has played, he's been one of our best midfielders. And people forget how good Adam Forshaw is as a midfielder because he's been out injured for so long. The stuff that's gone around is apparently the stuff that kept him out on the backside of this season was he had the hip problem, but then they had several operations after that to clean up the area to stop the injuries coming back. So a lot of it was kind of rehab stuff that was keeping him out longer and longer, and then he got the little run at the end of the season. You can't sign him on a full deal, though. That's the problem, because as you said, it's wasted money if you get injured, and you're also taking a spot in the roster as well. If you sign him on a year deal, then you maybe don't bring somebody else in, or somebody else goes out on loan, and you lose that gap. But I think in the situation he's in, there won't be a huge amount of clubs looking to sign him either because of the injury history that he has. And I think a pay-per-play does everyone perfectly here. You sign him on a pay-per-play. He only gets paid when he kicks the ball. If he's injured, doesn't cost Leeds anything. Still have him around the place for the kids to help them out. It's not costing you anything. It's not sentimentality. It's just a bit of smart business. And if you can get a run of games, if you can get a whole season of them, you're getting a really, really good player at that level. You know, the mistake we could make, and this is where my fear always is, you let him go for nothing. Somebody else picks him up in the championship and he has a whopper of a season. You go, what do we do that for? Because the people who are saying he's crap, bin him off, will be the first people saying, why did we let him go? Why did the club let him go? Yeah. So it'll be the same people, but I don't think you can sign him on a permanent deal. I think it has to be a pay-per-play deal. If you keep him.
But will he accept that? I don't know, honestly.
I don't know. But I think if it's
it'd be good for him, actually.
If he's backing himself, I think he would, because he'd be like, yeah, no problem. I'm going to play this year. I'm confident my injuries are behind me. But but the club has to insulate itself against the amount of injuries, because it's not only the injuries, it's the cost of the injuries as well, not just on the salary, but every time he needs to get a scan done, that's costing the club money. That goes outside the club. We've got to pay for that. There's money goes into the rehab as well. So I'd like a medical department in Ellen Road that wasn't busy for once. You know?
Yes, exactly. I love this from Milk Hughes, said the squad. You guys so far suggested to keep his guarantee to get relegated. We'll talk about it at the end.
You haven't added anyone to that squad yet, and we will. That's the thing.
Exactly. So for me, I am going to agree with Andrea on this one. I think, I think we don't sign him on a new deal. But like you say, I think maybe that's what the conversations are, and if he's going to have reduced terms, etc. Pay as you play, but yeah, here's what it is. Right, let's move on. Brendan Aronson. I'm going to kick us off with this one.
Yeah, go.
I'm a hard sell. Maybe he could do a job in the Championship, but I just think if he can't cope physically with the Premier League, he's definitely not going to win the Championship. I think we paid a hell of a lot of money for him. I think you run the risk of losing more money on him if you let him stay a further year in the Championship and it doesn't work out. I think his game is more suited to a German brand of football, if you like, that high pressing, and you could see him move to a Bundesliga side, and maybe you recoup some of the money that you paid for him. I just think if we were to keep hold of him, we run the risk of him having another poor season and losing more money. And I just don't know if he's... Do you know what I will say from things I've heard as well? He's not had a great time of it, and I don't think the club have helped him in that scenario. If I'm honest, a young lad coming over on his own, etc. Maybe he's had a bit of an hard time from people at the football club, but it is what it is. When you've got clowns running it behind the scenes, what can you expect? But listen, it's just not worked for Brendan, and for me, it's a big sell. Sorry.
No, that's a good thought. But yeah, in the first place, I was actually gonna say keep, but on the basis that that the club had a fitness and training program from him specifically suited for him, because he is not there physically.
No,
the physicality gets the better out of him every time he gets overrun by opponents physically, and I don't know if Good point. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if he has the mentality, like you said, Joe. Unfortunately, he had a bunch of good games at the beginning of the season, but after he had a bad game, he never bounced back. He never bounced back, and every time he was given opportunities, he wasn't frozen out of the squad. He wasn't frozen out on the bench. He was constantly being given opportunities by Marsh, by Gracia, and then at the end by Allardyce. And he never got the best out of him. with those opportunities. He never
There's
bounced
clearly
back.
something there, though, Andrea, with it, because all of those managers either played him or he was the first substitute that they used and brought onto the pitch when they needed to change the thing.
Is that not just because of energy, though? 'Cause
Maybe.
he runs
Yeah,
around.
yeah, maybe that as well. But I mean, I if you take again the bits that you've said and take small bits out of them, came over on his own, maybe hasn't had the support of the club, did struggle. The World Cup didn't help him as well. I think his confidence. Going into the World Cup, there was Jurgen Klopp was talking about him, saying he was a special player and he's one to watch, and he'd had a decent season with Leeds up till that point. And then he didn't kick a ball in the World Cup for America, and he came back and his confidence just seemed to be in the toilet. And I don't think his physical stuff is half of his issue. I think he falls down more than he's physically knocked down. I think a lot of it is just simulation and feel the contact go down.
Yeah.
And he needs to knock that out of his game because he's not in Germany now. He's in the UK, and that you just got to get on with stuff. I keep him because I think there is a player in there, and I think he will come good. And I think maybe a season in the Championship is exactly what he needs. A bit of rough and tumble to get him used to. Like this is it. You get up to it now. Your career is done in England. I would keep him.
Yeah.
But
Go on, Luke. I'll let you be the go on. Respond then, Andrea.
Yeah, just quickly. And apart from the physicality, I think tactically he's been poor through this season because he didn't have a position on the pitch. We're constantly roaming around. So the new manager, if he stays, if the club keeps him, they'll need to find the best position for him. Even if he's advanced midfielder, he played there. Left winger, right winger, he played the best position, but he roams around. I think advanced midfielder is the position that suits him the best. But to end this personal point, I agree with Joe too. If we don't keep him, I think he'll go to the Bundesliga, maybe joining his brother in Frankfurt.
Probably, yeah. What I will say is watch the first half of Leeds against Crystal Palace at the start of the season when he was playing right wing. He was incredible. He was excellent in that game. He did the whole Medford Messi thing came up because at one point he got the ball on the right hand side on the touchline, went past about 5 players, and then hit the post with a shot that was going to the far corner. And then in the second half, they put him back into the 10 and he just vanished out of the game completely. I don't think he's a number 10. I don't think he's a central player. I think if you're going to get the best out of him, you need to put him in a wide area and then he'll come in off the wing and run at people. But
I totally forgot about that Medford Messi stuff.
Go and look at the first
We
half.
have not seen anything like that, have we? Medford Messi, my ass.
Chelsea, the first game against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And specifically, look, if you go back and watch the first half against Crystal Palace, watch him playing on the wing in that game. And then look at the difference when they took him off the wing. It's massive. It's massive.
Yeah, actually.
Medford Adrian, that's what he is. The Medford Adrian.
Salmon impression.
Yeah, he played on the wing at Salzburg too. So maybe you're right, Jeff. Yeah.
3 against 4 just says, look, he did come up in the MLS, which is very physical. He's worth the opportunity to try and develop in the Championship. Remember how good he looked at the start. Luke, I'm going to let you be the deciding vote on what we do with Brendan.
I really want to live in Bicester with you. No, I think for me, do you know what? It's such a tough one because it's gonna this basically is one way or the other with the Medford Messi. He's either going to climatize to the Championship or he's going to get beaten up. He's either going to have that little bit of extra time on the ball and look absolutely incredible, or he's going to be beaten up and look absolute dog shit week in, week out. What I will say is we're not going to get the money back that we paid for him. So I'd be inclined based on that to have a punt on him, or loan him out to Italy or Germany or somewhere like that, somewhere where he's got. Sorry, Andrea.
It'd be destroyed in Italy physically.
Yeah,
this Serie A is so tough.
I suppose I just mean somewhere where he's got a little bit more time on the ball compared to just going back. We've explained that all these managers have picked him and they've given him a fair run, and he's had probably arguably too many chances this season.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not had. He's still only a young kid. He's still only a young kid, and he's been brought in with all this expectation, similar to Rutter, and we'll come on to him. That when you brought him for a large amount of money, to play in the Premier League, the best league in the world, against some. What's that, Andrea?
Oh my God.
The cat's ass in his face. So yeah, I'd be inclined to keep or potentially look at a loan with no fee, with
I
them
need
covering
an
his
answer.
wages. Keep.
Cool.
Can I
That's
ask a
fine.
real quick question on this whole thing that's been said? There's a load of players being rumoured that Leeds are going to loan out for the year in the Championship and then bring back when they're back in the Premier League. Like Rock has been mentioned this, Aaron's been mentioned, Sinisterra has been mentioned.
I don't think it's for that. I think it's to protect the value.
I think it's a good shout, though. I think you like Nanto, Sinisterra, you lose by getting relegated. For loaning them out for a season, you don't have to go sign that caliber player again when you get promoted again. You've got them back straight away. Now, whether the dressing room is happy to see them stroll back in after they haven't worked.
I don't think a lot of clubs accept that though either. They'll want a fee in there. They'll want to say, right, we're going to buy him for this though. I don't think
you would imagine to be a loan fee anyway. They'll get something, then the wages will be deferred and they'll get that off the book. So there's some benefit to it. But Max suggested this when we did this on Ollie's channel, and I thought that's a really good show. And then I start seeing it popping up in all the news things going. Leeds will loan them out for a season, get the wages off the books, and then bring them back when they're in the Premier League. And Rock is the only one that I've seen where they've said, bring him back and then sell him next season when they're in the Premier League.
I think there's going to be a clause in there for Real Betis to make it permanent, no?
Exactly.
There's nothing
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I
know
think
Fulham did it with Zambo Anguissa though.
Yeah. A couple of
Zambo, Seri,
and he was phenomenal, by the way. You know what I mean?
Max said Delafeo was another one that was done with as well. Watford had loaned Delafeo out for a season, then brought him back when they got back promoted again. So
potentially. Right, let's Mark Rocker. I guess we're all sell because we know he's going, right? Mark Rocker's going anyway. So, right, Cree Somerville. This is an interesting one because this is one that I looked at and was like, do you know what? He'll rip it up, and then we hear that the club might be willing to sell, and there's suitors over in Holland, where his native land, if you like. That's where he came from, right? What are your thoughts, Joe? Come on, I'll come to you.
I'll be really quick. I'd keep him if we can keep him because, as you said, I think he'll destroy the championship. I think he'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
I think he's got a very busy agent as well because, again, he seems to be, of all the stories I see every single day, it's Somerville, and it's somewhere else. Aston Villa, Newcastle, Dortmund have all been mentioned. He must have the same agent as Cody. And then PSV was mentioned, and PSV were likely to make a move. And according to rumours, PSV had a £10 million bid turned down by Leeds for him. It's only confirmed in one source. However, apparently he had a conversation with Arne Slot as well the last 2 days. He had a phone call with Arne Slot, which the article that I read said Leeds and Feyenoord haven't spoken, which means he shouldn't be speaking to Arne Slot unless the club have okayed that. But apparently they haven't. So again, I would say I'd take that with a massive pinch of salt. I'd keep him if you can, but there's a huge amount of interest in him.
Yeah, same.
Agreed.
Keep, yeah. Keep if we can. Let's wait and see. Jack Harrison, I think we'd all love to keep, but
can't see it.
He's going, right. He'll be one at first out of the door, especially if he's got this release clause. I think that might get hit tomorrow at 12.
Apparently very interested in him.
Yeah, there's loads of clubs that'll be sniffing around Jack. Tyler Adams, then. There's news that maybe this injury is worse than first expected, and that could mean that Leeds United might be able to keep him at least till January. But then I read earlier on that he's apparently notified the club that he wants to leave. But again, it's all paper talk. I heard on the walk that he's quite happy to stay because of the way he's been treated at the club. He was very happy with the... outside the East Stand, you've got his face on the side of the ground. I think that really,
the fans love him.
really made him feel part of. So, I think we all want to sell. We all want
to keep him, but if exactly. I don't think we're in a position to be able to if he wants to leave. It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah. Like Joe said, keep him if we can keep him.
Yeah.
Same here.
Big keep. Right, where are we at with Darko JB then? No loan for who said loan?
Me.
You want to loan him out? You don't want to give him minutes?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, really? That
Why?
surprises me. That.
It was a clear no.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Look, I think he's going to be absolutely class in the future. I think he's definitely got it in him. I just think I don't think I don't think we're in a position to take chances on somebody he's probably not going to be one of the starting midfielders, so he's going to be coming off the bench. I think if we can loan him out, get him some game time, either to a League One side where he's playing week in, week out, that'll probably do his development and do us better in the long term. I don't think he's going to get enough minutes.
Do you not think? I think the thing is for me, and I know he played for England, didn't he, alongside Alex Scott, and Alex Scott is rated as one of the best midfielders in the league and didn't look out of place, did he? I think for me, either Bate or JB needs to be given a chance to play in midfield, I think personally. But I don't know what others
I would
think.
start Archie Gray over either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that might be sentiment, but from what I hear and the noises coming from the club and the 21s, whenever I've watched him, he looks to be a cut above.
Okay.
Again, I think it depends on where they played him in midfield, because initially Archie was a 6, but then Jesse said he's absolutely not a 6. He's a number 10. He can make things happen, and then you see the kind of goals that he scores playing right back for England. Archie looks like he's got every bit of Stuart Dallas's ability to just adapt and play in different positions. JB, I think, is more your holding player. Again, I think he's your 6. I would keep him because I could see him getting minutes off the bench in the Championship with Leeds. And I think he'd play in the cup matches. I think this would be a big season for JB. I would hang on to him.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Because he's played very good football at World Cup too, under 21, under 20 World Cup, and he's a player. A player like him, we don't have a player like him right now with the characteristic and the physicality of JB. He's tall, he's strong, he's very tough, can command from the back. So like we said before, when we were debating about the Bate and JB position, I agree with Jer. They're two different players. Bate can play more advanced, but also in front of the defense. I see JB in front of the defense, honestly, but yeah, he's strong. He has space too in certain ways, I think, physically for his age,
Yeah, I don't know if I've told this. I don't know if I've told this story on here or if it was on or better, but a friend of mine from work, her husband is a youth coach at Cambridge. He's been at Leyton Orient and a couple of other places as well, and he's coached against JB, and he said he will be, or he feels, and the feeling within City was that he will be as good as Yaya. He's got the potential to be as good as Yaya Toure.
Wow.
So he has those characteristics, and
Darko
works.
We acquired him in the deal when we sold Calvin
Lulu
to Man City, and we could have got Lavia too.
Yeah, true.
Lavia would be great, yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy with JB. Lavia is leaving Southampton, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He's leaving, is he?
For sure.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, he will do, won't he?
Good player.
Yeah.
Very good player. Only going to get better.
No.
I've put Darko JB in the keep column then. Louis Sinistera.
Loan to
keep if you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep
I'd love to be able to keep
him.
Again, I think his injuries might help us. I think the fact that he's had so many injuries, because even again before he came to Leeds, when he was in the Dutch league, he had a ton of injuries there as well. So I think his injury, and again, also he scored a lot of goals for Leeds, which is great. Well, not a lot of goals, but comparative to the amount of games that he played, the position that he plays in. But he had no assists last year. None. Not one for a winger. 0 assists, which is poor.
Scored some belters, though.
Scored some crackers.
7 goals.
No assists, though. So, but I think clubs might be a bit wary about gambling on him. I think that's why a loan might be. Maybe some top clubs will be like, yeah, we'll take him for a year on loan. Maybe look at buying him next year, and then Leeds can maybe bring him back. But my hope with Sinistera is that clubs look at his injury record and go, no, and he stays.
Mate, imagine Sinistera in Championship.
He will get battered in the Championship, though. He will get battered.
He'll murder him, man.
So did Del Tarat, though, and he was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Sam Greenwood's an interesting one, then. What are our thoughts?
I like Sam. I like Sam a lot, but I think he needs a season on loan somewhere else, I think.
Same. Yeah.
Same.
I'd sell him, I don't think he's all that.
And we need to define his position too.
What have
Yeah,
you seen?
He came here as a striker, but then was turned into a center/advanced midfielder.
I think he's a
What
10.
have we seen? Genuinely, what have we seen from Sam Greenwood?
I think he's very good in the ball, Joe. I think when he's given the ball, I think he's looked nervous at times when he's gotten to the first team. But if you look even just recent memory, if you think back to the Newcastle game, for the penalty that we got, he bet 3 Newcastle players on the sideline, just left them for dead, and great pass through. He's got a fantastic foot. His set piece stuff is a strange one because he came into the first team because of his set pieces, and then the first 2-3 free kicks he put into the wall and over the bar, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's crap at free kicks." I was like, "No, he's had 1." In the under-21s, he'd have 7 or 8 in a game, and he put one of them in the top corner. You know what I mean? So it's volume as well. I think he's very tidy on the ball and he works hard, and I think he's got goals in him as a midfielder. His finishing is excellent, but he needs more games, and he needs to do what Creed did last year when Creed got his chance. He needs to step up his level and do more and look to get the ball an awful lot more than he does.
Yeah, another thing, he doesn't get one-on-one and doesn't dribble often. He needs to speed up his game.
Yeah, he does.
All the play, and when you are with your back to the goal, you need to develop that, because when he has space, he's good.
Yeah.
When he's pressed, he struggles a lot, I think.
I think when we look at
around.
I think when we look at the value we'll get from him as well, I don't think it'd be worth selling him, because I think there's a lot of, the ceiling of a player of Greenwood is quite high. Utility player, good set pieces as well. I think probably ideally alone. Yeah.
We bought him for 3 million, so we're not going to get that back, I don't think, right now if we sell him.
I have put him in the loan column then. For sure. Okay, right, Archie Gray, I think we all keep, right? I think we need he needs to have little flashes in the first team and continue to be a starter in the under-21s, a bit like Monteiro, I guess. He's too young to be loaned out yet for me, I think.
Like we did with Jeff Clark in his first season, actually. Same.
Yeah. No, that's a great comparison. Right. Let's quickly talk about Dan James. Where do we see Dan James?
See, I think Dan James is good in the Championship. I think he's exciting in the Championship. I think that's the Championship. I think that's his level. And I think he'd be very, very useful in the Championship. Now, we're not going to get anything like that, but we paid for him either.
No. Same as Aronson, innit? 25 million both. Man.
We're not gonna get anything like that back. And if we sell him, it's probably going to be to a rival in that league or somebody else that's going to be playing against us week in, week out. And I think he could have a good season in the Championship. Look, I don't think we saw the best of him under Bielsa. He was played as a lone striker of all places the majority of the time. Exactly. And I think if I had one negative to say about Marcelo was, why the fuck did you ever do that? But yeah, I think played as a natural right winger, going at the left back and improving his crossing. I think he could be a dangerous player to keep hold of.
Yeah. I was dead set against it because I just think he's a bang average footballer. But I think, like you say, if teams in the Premier League aren't going to come for him, where else is he going to go? Then you might as well keep him, mightn't you?
Joe, where was your head at when we signed him the first time and the deal didn't go through? Yeah.
I was buzzing.
And why were you buzzing? Because he was ripping the Championship up with Swansea.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
I thought you meant when we signed him, when we actually signed him.
No, the first time we signed him when
definitely. And I still think that had he have brought him in at that time, he could well have got us over the line.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's suffered similar to how Rodrigo suffered for 2 years. And Joe, you listen to the Square Ball, so for 2 years we heard in the Square Ball that a record signing isn't scoring goals. A record signing isn't scoring goals. And why do we pay so much money? Why do we pay this? Why do we pay this? Because he's been played out of position. Been played in a position that he didn't play in, either out on the right or in a 10. As soon as he goes up front, starts scoring goals into the number 9 in his natural position where he was bought to play, scores goals this year. Even in a season where he dislocated his shoulder and broke his foot, he still gets 14 Premier League goals. It's really good. Dan James is in the same mold. We bought him as a right winger and we stuck him up front. Very clearly not a finisher. He very clearly is not a finisher. but he is a very, very good winger at that level. And I think if we had him, I think he'd be a huge player for us next season in the Championship. But at that level, when you go to the Premier League, I think maybe you need to look at moving him on then.
Especially if we're looking at losing Nonto, Somerville, one of or both of. Do you know what I mean? We need some attacking threats, some fresh legs, some fast legs off the bench as well to really hurt defenders. And he's got that little bit of needle about him, similar to what I was going to say about Sam Greenwood as well.
Yeah,
I like that about a player when they get stuck in, and they'll stand up. I enjoy that a lot. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see people flapping about like salmons leaping from water and rolling about for hours. It's shy. I'd rather see a Dan James put his foot in and get straight back up and get straight into his man. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I just think he's got a lot to offer in the Championship. Yeah, if we could get the money back, if somebody offered us 25 million, I'd snap your hand off. If somebody offered us 20 million, I'd snap your hand off.
According to the daily record in Scotland, Leeds have gone back in for Brendan Rodgers and offered more money than Celtic are offering him.
This is what my good friend Oscar's just done a video on as well. So
says Leeds have tried to hijack his move to Celtic by offering a better deal. Leeds
Why would you want to go back to Celtic?
But he's hated.
It seems a bit mad.
His
relationship with the Green Brigade is absolutely erupted.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great when they brought him in the first place. There's a lot of political and religious reasons for that from where he's from in Ireland. When he went to Celtic, people think Irish and Celtic goes together perfectly. Depends on what part of Ireland. But my friend Paul, who's a massive Celtic fan, hated him for the entire time he was at Celtic, despite the fact he won 7 trophies. Didn't like him, didn't want him there. And when he left, he was like, the way he left, never want to see him back. They've got songs against him. They've got banners against him. Why he go back there? This is just saying that Leeds believe they can offer a different attraction with the opportunity of returning a fallen giant to the top tier. And the 49ers would give him a war chest to do that.
Yeah, it will be a statement if the 49ers manage to get him. Huge statement of intent. In my personal list is Rodgers, Farke, Corberan, and then all the others, of course. It'd be, he of course, people try to judge him based on the 2 last seasons with Leicester, especially in the league in the 21-22. But he won them an FA Cup. Yeah. They challenged for the Champions League in one season, and they battled the top 4. They won the Community Shield. They reached a European semi-final in the Conference League and were beaten by Roma. I think he did pretty well there. And he's constantly managed top clubs recently, Liverpool and Celtic. And Leicester did pretty good, I think.
I wouldn't judge him on what happened at Leicester, by the way.
Last
season. I would absolutely have Rodgers. In fact, he'd be up there. Him or Potter.
He'd be the number one.
Yes,
he'd be the number one. I think we can all agree on that. I think we can all agree on that. Sorry, mate. Listen, there's over 1,000 people watching. We've only got 336 likes, so please do like the video because we're about to move on to the people that get them goals. We're about to move on to the strikers. Make sure you follow these guys on their respective channels and also Andrea on Twitter. Their links are in the description to this video. We've done the midfielders. We've put James in the keep section. Now let's move on to the strikers. It's probably going to spit a lot of opinions, but let's start with those that have been, or one that's been out on loan. Joe Gelhardt. I'm going to put this out there now. I'm not going to say sell him or anything like that, but I'm a little bit worried about Joe Gelhardt. And was he actually as good as a prospect as we all thought he was? Not just us, including all the scouts in the Premier League, because it's just not really worked out for him, has it?
No, in a word.
Yeah, he struggled at Sunderland at the beginning, then had some good games, some good performances, but was never consistent. He was brought in, of course, when Ross Stewart got injured to cover in the striking force. Totally different player, but yeah, honestly, I'd keep him. But if we looking at to try to get back immediately and another striker comes in, I think he needs to go and play to another Championship club, maybe on loan, but maybe a club where he doesn't have that pressure. Maybe a club looking for a mid-table finish, or probably a club that is eager to finish in mid-table, to avoid relegation smoothly and with those goals, but just if another striker comes in his position, if not,
That's the thing,
I
isn't
keep
it?
him as a backup. One of
As
the backups.
Leeds fans, would you be confident with Gelhardt? Like,
I'd rather play him as a 10.
yeah, just off
Yeah.
as a second
Or as
striker.
with two strikers, which I think is
Yeah.
he's a couple of things he needs to do, because Sunderland said that as well. Initially, Sunderland brought him in to partner that guy up front, who then got injured, and that scuppered their idea was to go with two. He can. A lot of managers have said the same thing. It's unfortunate that we don't play with a two. It's unfortunate that we don't play with two. If we had two strikers, Joe would be perfect. Big man, little man kind of partnerships. But very few teams play with two strikers, because if you play two strikers, you lose a man in the middle of the park. If a team's playing three, then you're overloaded in the middle of the pitch, so you don't do that. So I think it needs to be clear what Leeds are going to do. Whoever the new manager is, if that manager's coming in is going to play two up front, you keep Joffe. I think if he's going to play one up front, you loan him out. He needs to adapt at being a lone striker if he wants to have a career in the game, because there's no point in being a young up-and-coming striker who can't play as a lone striker. You have to be able to do that. So he has to adapt to that.
Yeah, I actually agree with Luke with this, because especially if we are looking to loan out Greenwood, like we said, he can be tried as a number 10. And I really like him when he got space on the wing too, honestly. I think he's not a proper number 9, but more like a second striker or center forward, behind the lone striker, or just playing. I'll try him, honestly, on the right or left wing. Of course, we're full of wingers right now, but I think he can develop a career in this position too, because he's got speed, he's physical. I'll try, especially with the number 10 position, but two on the wings too, on the flanks too. But
What we say, so
right now.
are we loaning out for the time being, Joe Gelhardt? I don't think we're ready to sell, right?
Yeah.
I'm between.
One. Sorry, Andre, go ahead.
Sorry, go on, Joe. You're all right, mate.
No, go.
I'm between keep and as an attacking midfielder 10 or loan. Yeah, between the two. I wouldn't sell him.
I'm a keep till January, see how he gets on with a new manager, and then maybe loan him out, see how that goes.
Cool.
Yeah, same with Luke and Joe for other certain opinions. In the middle between those two opinions.
He's a tough one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's put him in the keep then for now, and let the new manager assess him. Let's talk about Mateo Joseph. I personally would like to see him get a run out this season. Be given a chance. Yeah. Everyone agree?
I think he's a finisher. I don't think we have a finisher. I think the kind of goals, the kind of opportunities Bamford was missing in the box last year, I think Joseph is perfect for those. He looks like a really sharp finisher in around the 18-yard box. So proper little fox in the box. I would absolutely keep him and try and get him some game time next year.
Yeah. With that in mind, do we loan Perkins?
Yeah.
I think Perkins could play as well, because he can play as a 10 or he can play in midfield as well. Perkins has got a couple of strings to his bow.
I'll loan him, honestly.
I'd keep Perkins either for the 21s or to support the first team.
Right.
Honestly, I'll loan him, but keep Joseph, of course. And just to define the player, as a young player, he had to choose between Spain and England. There was a contention between those two national styles, because he could play for both at a young level, and still probably they will battle for him in the future. So he's really good, moves well, attacks the space, gives depth to the team. He's good. His off the ball movement is really good, I think. Of course, he's just played in the under-21s and in the youth international football, so we need to see how he adapts to the senior game. But what I've seen
as well, Andrea, there's just, and same thing with Perkins. I know Perkins has played some first team football for West Ham, but the Leeds under-21 side were playing in Premier League 2, Division 2, not Division 1. They weren't in the top division. They weren't playing against the best youth players. They were playing against the second tier of that. So how they adapt moving up to that level of the underage players at the top clubs, where Man City dominate that level. It'll be interesting to see how we adapt to that. But I think I've been surprised this year that Perkins hasn't gotten closer to getting game time. I thought he looked okay against Cardiff when he came on. So if you put that in comparison to the Championship, maybe he could do a job in the Championship. But I think if Perkins goes out on loan this year, I think Perkins goes. I don't think he stays.
That's my worry.
I think that's a fail then in his eyes of I came in to get a faster pathway after playing first team for West Ham, who are in a better position than Leeds, and I've not played any first team football.
Am I right in thinking Perkins was the top scorer in PL2 this season?
Joseph was.
Sorry, Joseph was, yeah.
But
he was partnered with Perkins. Perkins played behind him all the time
this year, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I couldn't keep one and loan the other, or keep one and sell the other. You know, I'm sort of either keep them both or loan them both. Yeah.
I think we should keep just one of the two, because otherwise there's congestion in the striking force, and the youth players need to go and play. And it's good what you say, what you said about the different level, even in the youth Premier League, of course, in Premier League 2, you know. And
we had a big number 9 we could get rid of to free up some space.
I think, yeah, I'm with Andrea. I think we loan
one of the two,
loan either or, and at this moment
Joseph,
in time,
honestly.
I think I prefer Joseph over Perkins. That's where we're at. Rodrigo, I think it looks like he's going right. Unfortunately, I think we'd all like to keep him, but I think we can all. I think it's only
49ers have said that they want to keep him. They want to hang on to him. But I don't.
His release clause is 3.5 million, right?
Is that real?
It can't be right, because there was a release clause for Koch that was 0, and apparently that's not true.
But that's BS, clearly.
But it wasn't. That was Bild in Germany that came out with that. They were the ones that said so. You're assuming Bild are getting their information from Koch's agent, who again is another very hard working agent and putting his name everywhere. You'd assume there was something in that, but like did Orta leave because he knew all this stuff was coming? These clauses were going to start getting out, because that's 3.5 million, considering what we bought him for, and the release clause would have been negotiated at that time when he was being signed. That would have been put into the contract then. You're paying 25 million for a striker. You're not putting a 3.5 million release clause if you get relegated, because you could get relegated the first season. You've lost your house on him, you know.
Yeah, unless you think it's impossible.
A decent house as well.
Relegated.
Unless you think it's impossible, you got to get relegated.
That was their mindset. That they considered it impossible to get relegated. They even said it in the press. That's how they reasoned back then. And now we're playing that.
You know when you're watching a Leeds match and a striker comes onto the pitch and they say, this guy hasn't scored in 14 years. And you're like, oh, he's guaranteed to score against us. The second Radrazani said it's impossible for us to get relegated, I was like, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So I think Rodrigo sell, just because I think, not that we want him to be sold, I just think he will go. Willie Nonto, folks.
Well, he's not going to stay. I think if you could keep him, absolutely great. He'd rip it up again. Another one who'd do it in the Championship. His next level. He did it. He was the best player, arguably most exciting player for us all season in the Premier League. So very, very difficult to keep hold of him, I think. But if we can, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Rutter?
I think you play him. I think you play next season. This is the year. This is the one.
Yeah.
Has to.
I think if he gets it right, he could smash the Championship up.
Yeah. As a number 9, but
like even based on his goals that he scored before he came to Leeds, he doesn't score that many, and he played out wide a lot.
Exactly, spot on. Exactly, because it was presented by Orta like a number 9, where we should have gone. It's like my mantra: we should have gone for Victor Gyökeres.
We were signing that group though, wasn't it? It was a case of, can you play up front and wide of a 3 as well?
That's right.
Every player we signed could play wide and up front of this rotating thing. That just didn't end up working with no goals.
Yeah, the older play for Rutter needs to be developed, because right there physically and in terms of older play, he can hold the line right now. He cannot hold the line. He needs to develop. And like you said, Joe, absolutely spot on. He played wide at Hoffenheim. He played wide. He was presented as number 9 by Orta, but he was playing wide in the Bundesliga. He was number 9.
He scored 7 career goals when we paid 35 million for him, and then he was labelled as a number 9. You're going, he couldn't be. 7 goals, 35 million, number 9. That can't be right. And then you looked at it and go, actually, most of the goals he scored were cutting in from wide areas and shooting from distance. He's very good at that. So
I wonder where he'll play in the upcoming under-21 Championship, Europe under-21s with France. I wonder where he'll play. So we will see if he's a number 9 or a wide player.
Good show.
For sure.
Get rid of him. Get
No,
rid of
I
the
think-
next one. Get rid of the next one.
So, can you just get to the
So-
player we want to talk about? You've gone through every
Yeah,
single
so
striker
I've saved
except
him
Rob.
the best till last, obviously. I put Rutter in the keep. Patrick Bamford.
I think he
You
stays as a
say,
backup.
I think you keep him as a
I don't think
backup.
anybody signs him. I think he will stay,
All right.
but I think if we can get anything for him, we get rid.
I would like to see him leave.
Really?
No, I think we'll keep him.
I think that's harsh.
See, this
I
is where
think
I'm
it's
trying
his
not to be
personality.
This is where I'm trying not to be sentimental. And also, there was that article that
Release.
came out.
Someone says release.
I deliberately
Released.
didn't put the article in any of the news videos that came out a couple weeks ago a couple of days ago about the fact that he had a huge bust up apparently with the squad at a night out with Leeds, and told everybody he was leaving at the end of the season. The club was being run like a joke, which we all know it is being run like a joke behind the scenes. But he apparently said it out loud at an outing with the club in front of all the officials and said he wasn't going to be here next season. So that was earlier in the season apparently that happened. Now I didn't put it into any news because it was only came from one place that picked it up. But you know, there was too much last year of him walking back into the defensive half and pointing fingers and giving out to the defenders and walking over to the sideline and having big long meetings with managers and coaches and pointing and shouting at people. I don't want to see that from him. I want to see him score goals. And if he can't use his right foot, we need to get a better striker. You know,
I don't mind that, Joe. I don't mind the
do.
point if he's doing his job.
Oh, yeah, a bit. Yeah, if he's
doing his own job.
but he wasn't doing his own job. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? And then you see this rumor split between the younger players and the older players, and you just see his attitude towards people. I don't know what happened last year. He seemed to change from this really affable, nice guy to being a bit of a pain last year to watch, you know, and some of the stuff was going on. So given the stuff that's gone on off the field with Bamford as well as on, I think for everybody, the best thing to happen here is a clean break. I could see someone like Middlesbrough picking him up if we're going after Chuba Akpom, if that's a real link. Maybe
There's
throw
not
him
a
into
chance it goes to
nah, maybe not. But I think you can try maybe throw Bamford into a deal with somebody else, and you know,
Let him
money plus.
retire and go play polo and croquet on a lawn somewhere in like the middle of the Cotswolds and never be seen again.
But do we want to have another season where we're talking about Bamford being injured or not finishing on his, you know, and I know he did the championship the last time, but the season with no fans, which you could argue both of those seasons were the Premier League and the Championship season were both 2 seasons with no fans in the stadium. He had his best seasons with no crowd. When you add the crowd seasons into it, he hasn't hit double figures in any of those, at any level in those seasons with any club. He hasn't hit double figures. So clearly there's an issue there playing under pressure, you know, and the amount of abuse he's getting from people. If it's not going his way, he can't handle the flack that he's getting from the stands. And I think that's an issue. I just think a clean break is needed completely with Pat Bamford. I think we need to move on now. You know, whether it's the young players that play up front now or we go off and sign a striker, but I think it's time to move on.
I tend to agree. I would like to add that he never looked the same player after all the injuries that he had. And the fact he's injury prone, I think they'll keep him as backup. But he's a risk right now because he had some long injuries for 2 consecutive seasons, and it affected badly the way he plays. He's not that sharp like he used to be during the 2 seasons without the fans. And as a backup, he may be a risk because, of course, if he gets injured again, hopefully not, of course, we need to have another striker lined up with those characteristics. Because, like I said, he works a lot off the ball. He used to, at least. He holds the ball up. He used to struggle this season. But right now, we don't have a player that can hold the ball up because, like I said, a Rotter doesn't have that part of the game in his game right now. So we need to develop it. So, but the club, they'll try to keep him as a backup.
Cool. Well, I've put him on our sell list.
Yeah.
Everyone all right with
Yeah,
that?
like I said, I think the club will keep him. The club.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Looking
with
at
that
the
in
way
mind,
it's
I'm gonna put him on the keep. All right, because I don't think anyone will buy him. If I'm being told.
No, I agree with that.
Right. Okay. Well, that's the full squad done. Right. So let's just have a look at what we've got here, folks. So this is on our keep: Joel Robles, Van der Heuvel, Cody Drama, Luke Ayling, Rasmus Christensen, Stuart Dallas, Liam Cooper, Max Vorber, Charlie Creswell, Pascal Strauch, Monteiro, Brendan Aronson, Somerville, Adams, JB Sinney, Gray, James, Joffe, Matteo Joseph, Willie Nonto, Rutter and Bamford. With that,
Not a bad squad.
straight, I think we need a couple of midfielders, a striker, and a
Left
new
back.
number 1,
Maybe a 10.
and a couple of left backs,
Maybe a creative number 10 would be nice to have as well, wouldn't it? Something that can open some doors up. I think you're looking at
Carrera.
I like to see a new defender
Hammer.
too.
Yeah, man.
Her or Hammer, yeah.
Hammer, yeah.
Hammer's an option there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hammer, yeah.
got a lot of goals in midfield last year.
Sell there, we've got Melier, Firpo, Koch, Lorente, Roberts, Costa, Shackleton, McCalmont, Forshaw, Rocker, Harrison, Rodrigo. There's some money there. There's some money there, isn't there? There's definitely some money there. And then we're loaning out Clarkson, Hjelderbait, Greenwood, and Perkins.
I think you're selling that list of players being sold. If they're being smart and they're again, Leeds are not in a position now where they have to be a selling club. Leeds can now sit back and wait. Some of these players have long contracts. Nonto's a great example. He's a long contract. There's no release clause in his contract. He's a Leeds player. Leeds can demand a fee. Leeds can say, you can buy him, but you've got to pay for him. And if there is interest in, you get a buy-in race as well. That could happen with Tyler Adams as well. Now, his relegation release fee is 25 million. That activates it. But then if you've got 2 or 3 clubs bidding for him, you could get over 30 for him. Leeds could theoretically bring in over 100 million in sales there if they're clever and they do the right things and they get the right fees. Just totting up like tens in that you could get a bit of 100 million, which would fill the gap of the drop. Because that's rumored to be about 100 million you lose out when you get relegated. That kind of fills that gap, although you don't get all the fees at the same time. Gets those wages off the bill, and then you can kind of reinvest that into 1 or 2 really good players.
Yeah. We just don't need to get into the agents then. The agents hunting ground, because like we saw, there's lots of rumors coming out for certain players, maybe overhyping them. So we need to maintain our position. And if we're looking to sell, that's the price tag. No way we're lowering that down for the key players. Of course, for other players that have seen the transfer value drop, like Firpo, like we said, there's nothing we can do there. No. If we're looking to sell them, we have to set 8 million, for example.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I am aware we have been going for an hour and 45 minutes, folks. That's absolutely insane. I just looked at my phone and I was like, wow, it's 10 to 11. So we won't keep anyone.
We'll do your next.
I still have to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Andrea, before you go, can I just ask you who this is on your Twitter?
Yeah, exactly. What is this?
Is that you?
Yeah, it's me. I have to go to the barber again soon. Yeah, it's me. Without the. Usually, I like to grow the beard, but recently I'm shaving, and the long hair is going soon. Yeah, it was
Andrea's got connections in the footballing world as well, haven't you, bro? Your father works in football, etc. So you,
Yeah, the picture was when I was the head of social media at Reggiana. It was from lovely. 2018. Yeah, it was a pitch side at the Stadio Città del Tricolore. Sassuolo call it Mapei Stadium, you know it, but in Reggio we call it just Città del Tricolore, City of the Tricolor Stadium, where Verona Spezia played on Sunday, the relegation playoff in Serie A. Yeah, it was...
there ain't nothing this guy doesn't know about football. There ain't nothing he doesn't know about football. So, yeah. Look, everyone, great to have everyone. I won't keep anyone much longer because, like I say, we're nearly hitting 2 hours, and I'm absolutely knackered as well. So smash a like on the video, subscribe to... Someone actually complained the other day that my last video was like a movie because it was an hour and 20 minutes, but I'd been away on the walk. Well, this one's nearly 2 hours, so it's like I don't know.
Titanic.
yeah, it's one of them Marvels, isn't it? It's what it is. But listen, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments. And of course, we're going to get battered in the comments saying, why are you keeping ailing? Why are you keeping it? Is what it is. It's about opinions, right? Let us know your thoughts. Check out Luke, check out Joe, check out Andrea, and we'll see you again soon. Maybe we'll do like who's the best to buy. I feel that Andrea can bring a load of names for us to discuss. We'll chat about it. Thanks, everyone.
Like the Chris Jericho list.
Yes, exactly. You just made the list. You know.
This reference.
Thank you, folks.